But here's what I wanted to do. Greg, you're not going to like this, but you may get a kick out of it too. We have a new
Whatever.
heckler on my site on
Awesome.
YouTube.
I
Love
love
hecklers.
hecklers.
Yes, and he has insulted you and Denny.
Oh, he had, but didn't insult you?
No,
Oh,
You
interesting. Does he know
insult
us?
my family in the
no, he
Shaolin
does
Temple.
not know you.
Just
He's
insulted us,
pretending.
but
He's
has.
pretending. Yes,
Okay.
he's saying that you're not a good mathematician,
Oh,
and
okay.
so and he said Denny he used to be. It's obviously nonsense, but he's got my email, so he's writing me too. I'm not going to mention his name because
Okay.
I respect anyone who's going over the paper. But what I want to do here is show some of your freakish gifts that you do have in terms of mathematics.
Oh,
Greg, I tease
okay.
him. I say he's, like Rain Man, autistic savant. Okay.
I
Greg
don't know
can
about that.
do a quadratic equation in his head. Do you remember what a quadratic equation is, John, from high school?
No, I
Okay.
do not.
So, Greg, tell him what a quadratic equation is and then the traditional sense, and then tell him how you do it. And we're going to do it. We're going to test you right now. I got Wolfram
Okay.
Alpha
Well,
in here.
put me on board. Put me
Okay.
on the test. Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm not autistic or anything like that. But bottom line is the quadratic equation is any equation where you have something you're trying to solve for, something that's unknown, and that is squared. So we'll call that unknown thing x. Okay, well, it's some quantity, and we also have a quantity that's just in x plane, and then maybe a constant quantity. So that we
Sorry,
can
too complicated.
put that all.
Dumb
Okay,
that down.
we can put that all down and say ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. That's the way it's normally done. Have you seen that before in junior high,
Yeah.
John?
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you remember the formula for solving for
No, but
x?
you can just go ahead. Let's test.
All right. Well,
Somebody,
so
John,
hang
you
on.
throw out something that you know the
I'm gonna
answer.
get.
This is something you
Well,
should have
yeah.
learned in junior high, and it's
I took the small bus.
okay. Okay.
I just
It's
know what does a what does a mathematician do when they're constipated?
I don't know.
They work it out with a
with a
pencil.
pencil. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That,
Well, you know
I
the
know
difference
one
between an
joke.
extrovert mathematician and an introvert mathematician, don't you?
What's that?
The extrovert stares at your toes.
Oh yes.
Anyway, so there you go. All right, that was a groaner.
All right.
All right,
All right.
getting
Yeah. So
back.
go
Do you
ahead.
want me to do the
No,
quadratic equation?
yeah, I want to tell you now. Well, all right. So it's
How do I
basically
know you didn't collaborate before the show?
because
That's
you're
what
going to
we.
give him some after you see how I do it.
Okay, I have no idea how
You'll
to do
see.
it.
You'll see the
Like
first one. It's so easy.
potato plus
All right. No,
Okay.
no. We'll show you.
All right.
I'll show you.
So hang on,
All right.
hang on.
Okay.
So what the equation is, the answer to what x equals, you want to get x on one side, is x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of
Oh,
b
let me
squared
just
minus
show you one.
4ac, the whole darn thing all over 2a. And we memorized that in junior high. And John, I know you did too. Maybe you
Oh,
forgot,
that's
but I'm
simple.
sure that you did do that for at least a couple weeks in junior high.
Everybody does it.
Everybody learns that formula. And all I'm trying to say is that there's a simpler way to do it. And the way to do it is to realize that the solutions are actually statistics about the answer. Okay, so
In this field, you see a potential quadratic. All right, go ahead.
okay, so quadratic equations generally, the way to look at it is instead of thinking of them as just the coefficients a, b, and c, we call those the coefficients of x squared, the coefficient of x, the coefficient of
In this case, the
unity.
coefficient would be 2. The coefficient would be 3 in this one. You see that, John?
Yes.
I don't
Okay.
see it.
So okay, so you can
You don't
put
see
in
my
the
screen, John?
Oh, yeah,
Or
I see
Greg?
I
the
can
screen.
see it.
No, I see Wolfram. Is that what you're trying to show me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I got a quadratic. X squared plus 2x plus 3x equals 0.
Okay,
Okay.
so you can put the input here, and then Greg will say the output before you hit.
Yeah. So
Right.
for instance,
Right. Okay, got
we're
it.
just gonna change these coefficients around.
Uh-huh.
Instead of 2, maybe we put a 3 here. But let's just have Greg continue on what it is here.
All right. Well, anyway, what I'm trying to get at is that whether it's a quadratic or a cubic or a quartic, any of those, the coefficients are actually statistics telling you something about the solutions, not telling you the solution itself, but telling you things about the solution. So for example,
And who
if
came
I
up with this?
divide,
Who came up with this concept?
I don't know, I've never seen anybody else
Greg
do
did.
it, but,
Greg did. All right, you did.
it's
Greg.
not like it's
This
unknown.
is-
People
it's
have
a very-
recognized.
Yeah, that would be Greg. All right, go on. You got to
Okay.
say, hey, I
So,
have this new
so
method.
it comes
All right, go
from
ahead.
Okay, it comes from a very elementary thing. It was a
Mhm.
Carl Friedrich Gauss back a long time ago found out that if you have a polynomial, that's a polynomial would be if I have x to the cubed, then it's a cubic. If it's x to the fourth, it's a quartic, and so on. If it has the highest order term in any equation would be the nth order polynomial. Okay, and so
You lost every non-mathematician. Speak to a
Well, let him go.
non-mathematician.
quadratic is a second order polynomial because the highest order is x squared. Does
What's
that
an
make
order?
sense, John?
It does make sense, and it
Okay.
doesn't matter as long as this
Well, it
is
does-
the
it does-
formula.
it
It
does-
does. But for this to show that you can do it in your head,
Yeah,
as
well,
long
we'll
as
get
the
there.
answer
I'm trying to
becomes
show
what you
a little bit
say,
bigger,
but understand.
trying to get to the bigger picture. Okay, so
Okay.
Carl Gauss said if it's a cubic, there's 3 solutions. If it's a quadratic, there's 2 solutions. If it's a quartic, there's 4 solutions, and you can always write
Got it.
them out as x minus first solution, x minus the second solution times x minus the third solution. You can actually write it out as a multiplication of all those. And if any one of those if x is equal to any one of those solutions, then that term, that factor will be 0 and the whole thing will be 0. Did I lose you on that one?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay,
What's
so
the-
for
I want the
example, x squared, I can
demonstration.
write x minus x1 and times x minus x2 is another way of writing the whole thing. I don't know x1 and x2. Those are the solutions I'm trying to find. But if I multiply that out, I get x1 times x2. Well, that's the coefficient of unity. Therefore, I know that the last equation is the product of the solution.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
all
you
that you
found
do
the
in your
answer
head
by
because
doing
we
that.
don't understand any of what you're saying. All right. So we'll
Seriously?
understand a lot.
Did I lose you, John? Really?
No, we're good. No, I'm,
Okay,
I'm
I thought,
saying.
and then the
let's
second
put-
equation,
let's
the coefficient of B is the average of the solutions. Okay, and what I always do is I can always divide through by the A, so I can always bring that about. So the coefficient of the first number is always going to be 1. Does that make sense? You can always divide through
understand.
by
That's how
A.
you do
We
it. in
want
your
to
head.
see it
So-
demonstrated.
All right. So what do you got? X squared plus
Nope.
No, but
2x.
put it in that calculator so we can do
Is
it
it?
real
Is
quick.
it?
Hang on.
Wait. We can't do it in the calculator because Greg will
Okay.
see it.
No, it's fine. Let me just let me understand. X squared.
No,
X
I changed
plus
it. I'm giving a
2x.
new one. I got a
Okay.
new one for you.
Okay.
X squared plus x plus 4x equals 0.
Okay, so the coefficient of x is 1, and that's the average. That's actually minus the average, okay, because I did minuses. So the average is minus a half, the average of the 2 solutions. And the product of the 2 solutions is 4 plus 4. So what I need to do is take the average squared. So I take minus a half, and then so I got a half squared is a fourth. Minus 4 would be minus 3 and 3/4, which would be 15/4. So the square root of that. So that'll be the square root of 15 over 2, and that is an I. I have to put an I in front of it. It's an imaginary. So it'd be 1 plus square root of 15 all over 2.
Okay. What are the two solutions?
Minus 1 plus square root of 15 all over 2. Sorry. I would be shocked if I didn't get it right.
Okay.
This is
here we
not
go.
hard.
Oh, look at that.
There, that's what I said.
Minus 1/2 minus I times the square root of 15.
Well,
over
I said
2.
minus 1 plus or minus I square root of 15
Plus-
all over 2, which is the same thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah, it's exactly it because it's just
Yeah.
there you
Okay,
go.
let's do 2 more and then
Okay.
we'll be
Isn't that
satisfied.
freaky, John?
It's not that
Isn't
hard.
that
Do you
freaky?
understand how I'm doing it?
I'll ask my ex, who's a
Okay,
super genius.
Nobody can do that. All right, now.
you can. It's not. You can do that, Jeff. You can do this too.
it.
This is not.
No,
hard.
I don't think in the same way as you. All right, John, you come up with, and I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to plug it in there. But you guys can't see, right? All right, John, go ahead and give one.
I won't even be able
This is-
to articulate that.
Just give-
make
all
a-
right, just
I'll
start with-
say- I'll
Here
I'll
we go.
say
X
one
squared.
number.
No, here we
Bottom
go.
line, you
X-
just
John,
gotta come up with 2 numbers.
2 numbers. Come up with 2 numbers.
It can be negative or
8.
positive.
8.
be imaginary.
8x squared. 8x squared. And give me another number.
minus 10. if that's
Okay.
possible.
Well, 8x
So,
squared
8x
minus
squared
10.
minus
There's
10.
no coefficient of x.
We should give it an x. No, he just come up with a number. 8x squared minus 10x equals 0. Sound good, John?
Sounds
Okay.
perfect.
Well, x
8
equals 0 is a solution because there's no coefficient of unity. So that's easy.
You're
Anyway, the
faster
other
than my
solution would
calculator. I
be
can't even
minus
change
4/5.
the screen that fast. Hold on.
Minus
8
4/5.
squared. I'm typing
Because
in
you
Wolfram.
only got You're not even making it hard. You got to have a coefficient of unity. Or
Well, I'm the
You
wrong
just said-
person to make it hard.
Here we go. 8x squared, that's faster than I can even type. 8x squared minus 10x equals 0. The two solutions,
it's just one solution.
what
Well,
else?
0 and 4/5.
0.
Yeah, screen.
Oh, yeah.
0 and 4/5.
0 and 4.
0 is a solution because the product is 0, so it has to be 0.
All right. You
Follow
think
me?
it's 0 and 4/5. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Didn't you say 8/10?
I'm
10?
just teasing. The solution is
Yeah,
0
yes,
and
it is.
5/4.
Okay. Oh, I thought you said 10x squared plus 8x. Okay, I had the other way around. Sorry.
We'll just
thought,
do-
Okay, Jeff,
10
you do the
10x
last one.
squared.
Make it a little hard.
okay, I screw it up every time because I got the wrong. I'm solving the wrong problem.
So this one would be 0 and 4/5, exactly as you said.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with the imaginaries that you did the imaginaries in your head. I will do one more.
Well, it's harder, but I could do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have to write it down. I'm not autistic. But those are easy ones. I mean, if they were complicated ones.
I don't know anyone that could do just x squared plus x equals 0. I don't even know what that is offhand.
X squared plus x equals 0.
Solutions are 1.
Well, that 0 is a solution, and
0 and
minus 1 is
-1.
a solution.
All right, I saw the minus.
-1 because
I guessed to the 1, and I was even wrong. It's a
Minus
-1. All right, so not normal people can't do these, Greg. I'm just saying.
well, in fact, look, hang on,
yeah.
go back down. You see where it says x times x minus 1? That's what I'm talking about. I'm factoring it out.
Yeah, I
X,
understand.
that's basically the same as saying x minus 0 times x plus 1. So therefore, -1 is what makes the x plus 1 factor equal 0. So I just go and find all the factors that make it 0, which are the solutions. Does that make
Right.
sense? That's all I'm doing.
It makes sense. It just doesn't make sense to do it. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna do one last
Okay.
one for Greg.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
we'll
let me
make-
see the problem before you get it, because I want to make sure I'm solving the right one.
Okay. All right.
It's
Here's what we'll
embarrassing
do.
to get the wrong
Here,
Okay.
Greg,
even if it's
solve the
wrong
problem before he even tells you.
There you go.
I'm not Daniel. I'm not that good.
All right.
Or
Here, I'll let
Joseph.
you.
Joseph, that's the one.
I'll let you see the screen, but I won't hit enter. Okay. Let's do -7 x squared.
Okay, that's harder already.
Yeah. Plus, let's make it even harder. 3x equals 0.
That's it. Well, 0
That's
is
it.
the solution again because x equals 0 fits. So the solution is going to be plus 3/7.
And,
What is the solutions again? 0,
0
and
and
3/7.
3/7.
Yeah, it is. Freak.
Hard. Just divide by -7, and then that's
All right,
negative
let me
the
ask you this.
answer.
It may not be very hard, but have you ever seen anyone that can do that? Do you
Well,
know
I've never
anyone that
seen
can do that
anybody
other than
bother,
yourself?
but that's what I do. I have been doing that for decades now. When I solve quadratic equations, I usually just
Right.
I usually write it out with a pencil and stuff, and just to make sure I'm right. But yeah, that's kind of how I do it.
All right. So
I do think in those terms. I
All
think
right.
in terms of the
Right.
statistics. If you got a cubic, then you have another statistic. Instead of just the average and the product, you also have the standard deviation as another thing that enters in. You know that. So if I know the standard deviation, I know the product, I know the average, I can tell you the answer.
all right. So then now
Okay.
back to the individual, the heckler,
With a
who
quartic,
says
by the
that
way,
you're
let
not
me
a
just
good
can I
mathematician.
finish this as long as with
Yes.
a quartic, there's a fourth statistic. With a quintic, it's not solvable because there really are no other statistics that you can say about those about 5 variables that don't involve multiple copies. In other words, groups of 2 or something like that. I can't say anything about it, and therefore a quintic is not solvable. And we've known this for 200
Yeah,
years,
it's
but nobody's
difficult.
explained why that
Because the
reasoning
statistical
why it's not
aspect.
possible.
That's interesting.
Because there's not enough statistics, and that I've never heard anybody else say
That is interesting.
So
All right.
I think
so
that's a big deal.
You don't write many papers, Greg. You don't write many papers.
I have a whole ton of unfinished papers.
Yes. So
Tons
that
of
is
them.
that's like
Tons of
all right. Now he has.
It's
Do you have your
embarrassing.
NPA?
I have a few. I mean, I published. I mean, with the NPA proceedings,
just go
probably
ahead.
about 10 papers.
No, but go ahead and grab that book. Do you have it handy near you? Or
Sure.
Yeah, just grab that really quick. I
I've
want
got
you to see
several.
this. We got to set the record straight here on this heckler from the other channel because he needs to be set straight.
Now, is this heckler,
Some of them.
like, have you looked at his stuff post? Is he legit? Or is it
Well,
just
I'll
somebody
get into that in a second. I'll get
playing
I didn't know
into
this was
it?
going to be talking about me, but yeah,
I know that's why I was
I've
surprised.
Hecklers
edited,
are fun.
several of these.
Open up, Greg. Open that
Okay,
up.
these are like phone books. I'm telling you, this is a
What's
lot
in
of
there?
content.
What's in there?
It's all scientific papers from authors all over the world
Yeah,
who published in our proceedings.
and thousands and billions of equations. And
And
who
lots of-
edited it and checked every single equation in there?
Yeah,
Who?
that's what I do.
That's Greg. And how long did it
And
take
I've
you to
done
do
it
that?
well, I did it myself for 4 years, but
It took that book to do it for 4 years.
And this is fun to you.
Well, this is-
Greg.
no, this-
Hold up,
this-
Greg. How
this
long
book
did it
is
take
1
you to do
year,
that book?
four
One
of
year
these.
to edit every single equation or check every single equation of
Yeah,
somebody
I would
else's
say
work.
there's probably there's maybe 120 papers in each of these, something like that. It's over 100.
It's fascinating. Sorry, Greg.
And
Go
I
ahead.
would say more than close to
Or
half of our
John,
authors.
sorry.
I'd say about a third of the authors, maybe more, 40% are outside of the US. So we got authors from Russia, we got authors from, France, we got authors from Africa. I mean, it's unbelievable. So the connection with people like this, and they're kind of like, ResearchGate in that they're people who, who some of them are academics, some of them are engineers, a lot of engineers, I'd say, maybe a third academics, 40% engineers, and then everybody else is in there. But we don't, and a lot of them have doctorates. So it's not like we're talking about people that,
All right,
that
right.
aren't
I
qualified.
don't want to go back to, but you checked every equation in there. That's the impressive part. Now,
Well,
John,
yeah.
you had a question for Greg?
No, you obviously have a passion for it, and it's not tedious for you. This is probably fun, right? For you to go through that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's everything's a little bit tedious, let's be honest, so there's times when but yeah, I very much enjoy doing it. There comes a point, and I'll just be frank, where it's like, I've seen this before and somebody else is writing another paper and saying the same stuff. And it's like, it starts to get tedious, at that point, I'll be honest. But
Okay.
I do like exploring new areas, and I have tons of areas of interest. And trust me, this quadratic equation stuff is tippity tip of the iceberg. There's so much
Yes,
more.
we know, but this is, I wanted to bring it up because it's something that everyone can get their head around, and to see the impressive. Now, there's something else this heckler had brought up, and so I'm going to see if you could do this in your head, because I can. And
Okay. Well,
he
now
says
you're
it's
really putting me
impossible
on
to
the
solve.
spot.
Well, no, it's really simple. The guy, this answers the question: is he legit or not? Is this problem? Okay. Take a look at that equation, Greg. It follows from the Riemann hypothesis proof.
I'm not. Are you
We're
like-
not seeing it. We're
I'm not
seeing
seeing
it
anything.
blank.
It says you are screen sharing.
Yeah, but
I
there
see
must be a
Wolfram
Let me-
Alpha,
let-
but it's
That's
stuck.
Wolfram Alpha. All right. Okay.
I don't know. It seemed to be stuck.
me-
I'm
let
not
me
sure why.
start.
I see your face now.
Do you see something there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Read the equation and make sure it's the same.
It says 1/2 times the quantity -I minus square root of -a plus -1 plus 2a.
Okay. There's
You
a
want me
trick
to
question.
simplify that?
Nope. Trick question.
Okay.
What is the general solution for all of the zeros of this equation?
Oh boy. Well, in order to be 0, then the top would have to be infinite. And it
Oh,
never
sorry.
is.
If A is a real number.
If a is a real number, there are no zeros because
Thank you. How do you know that?
because in order for the whole thing to be 0, the square. Let's see. A could be positive or negative. Okay, so let me understand, is the brackets on the bottom, is, in other words, it 2 times all of that, or is it one half time? In other words, is the 1/2 have a bracket around it or not? I'm not quite clear on that.
Braces or parentheses?
I'm trying to determine if the quantity with the I minus square root, is that in the denominator? Okay, they have it in the numerator.
Look at the
Okay.
input. Yeah.
Yes, I see that. Yes, I see
That's
it now.
clear.
Okay.
So 2
Okay,
is in the
well,
denominator, yes.
yeah, because the let's see, the minus square root, okay, the square root would have to be a positive imaginary number. It would have to be positive imaginary I,
Right.
which would mean that we'd have to, well, so for example, if A was -1, or if A was +1, then we would have square root of -1. If A were +1, we'd have -1 plus 2, square root of that would be square root of -1, which is I, negative I, minus I would be -2I. So we'd have to get negative I, although I guess it could be plus or minus since it's a square root. So we could say that positive A equals 1 could be a solution, I suppose, because the square root could be negative. Then we'd have
And this
negative.
equation is something the heckler said in one of the posts?
Yeah, so there was a statement at the end of the let me go to the paper. There's a statement at the end of the paper, and John and Greg knows this. We've been through this for years. This very end. Do we need to include a proof for the last statement, or do we not? Is it something obvious? I'm going to get to the paper, and I'll show you the last statement. And in fact, that mathematician, I'm not going to say the university, you remember him though, Greg. We were corresponding back and forth at Dean. Okay.
Yeah.
So he was on this issue too. But it really made me lose hope in the future of our mathematics. That people don't understand this.
Well, I'd like to say something about that, but you
right there, equation 33.
Okay.
So it implies if you take this and you express it in explicit form, which is just like kind of the equation, it's above, then it's so easy to prove that right there implies real part 1/2.
Mm-hmm.
And it reduces to the equation, and it gives you in the solutions. If there were any solutions other than real part 1/2, it would give you a quadratic, which would have the solution here plus or minus square root. Now the plus here if we do that has zeros. The solution is.
I'm looking at A equals +1, and that's where the inflection point is showing, isn't it? Or it isn't.
The solution here, the root here for this one is when A equals 0.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be solving for
square root of
-1.
Oh, right. Square root of, yeah.
Now this one works. We change the sign.
Square root of when A is 0, then you get square root of -1, which is I.
But when this is minus, you don't get any
right.
zeros.
That's when I was looking at, no, when I'm looking at A equals 1, then square root of -1, well, yeah, I need you to go back up there.
I'm sorry, hold on.
I see, because you can't get a square root. You can't get you have to have the inside of that would have to be -1.
Yes.
And if A was any number, it wouldn't be -1. Although if A were negative, we'd have square root of -3.
We also got to remember it's within the critical strip. But the answer is that there are no solutions. And Wolfram Alpha will confirm that very easy. Mm-hmm. And there's many ways to go ahead and prove that right there. Mm-hmm. No solutions exist. So any calculator will show that. And the heckler's thing was, that's an extraordinary claim. You need to prove that. And I'm like,
whether or not there's a plus or minus in the square root.
Either way, what he was trying to do was trying to.
Because the way I see it, the square root, it gives you two solutions by definition. So whether it's plus or minus shouldn't matter. If it's true for one, it should be true for the other. And 0 is a solution for both.
Well, one could be extraneous.
Okay, I'm just saying square root could be plus or minus. So plus or minus I. That's all I'm saying. And so whether or not the sign in front of the square root is plus or minus, should give the same solution set. No?
Anyone can take the limit. So here you'll see that they're all imaginary complex, all the limits. There's no so we got if we take a to infinity, but that's outside the
So
critical.
what's this
scope.
guy's beef?
He's a troll. That's all. But
Okay.
he claims to be a mathematician, so I wanted to bring that up. I wouldn't bring it up except that I don't like that like I'm used to insults on the site.
Yeah, I'm
but
used to him too. I feel like I didn't do so good on your test here today.
You did. No, you looked
did?
at that and said there's no solutions. Then you questioned a little bit, which is fine, but it's you certainly can do quadratic in your head. And if you had the full equation and background for this, you'd be able to do it. The biggest issue, so it's
I don't know.
I just wanted to make everyone understand.
I feel
you're not a poor mathematician. You're an extraordinary mathematician. You have very strange gifts.
Yeah, I guess my skill level is more in really generating interesting ideas and looking at things in a new way. That's what I do well. And I don't consider myself the world's greatest mathematician by any stretch. And I hate proofs. I do them, but I hate them.
Yeah, no.
That's just me. I like a really elegantly written equation, and I strive to make my equations as elegant as possible, so they're as clear as possible. So that's what turns me on.
Hey, if you like these kind of conversations and you'd like to see more, click like and subscribe to our channel. And if you're at the computer and you'd like to hear the whole podcast, click right here.